Very good morning, friends. Sitting on the dais, Jinalwin, the Secretary of WRC, Fenilbhai, the Treasurer, today's opening batsman as a speaker, uh, Tejas Bhai, Ketan Bhai in absentia, the Chairman of WRC, and also the other two speakers I would like to acknowledge for the day, Rajesh Bhai and Chinmay Bhai. So, friends, a very warm welcome to all of you on this awareness program from the Financial Reporting Review Board. Thank you, Fenil Bhai, for that kind introduction. And let me tell you, friends, this is my second year as the chairman of the FRRB. Even in the last year, I was holding this position as the chair of FRRB, and I'll take you through, at the FRRB what we do, the overview and all. But one thing that share is that we have heard the words of our past president Devashish Mitraji that audit is a serious business, and I understand the presence that we have today in such large numbers is because those who are here they realize that nobody is perfect. I fully agree with that, but yes, with respect to how near to perfection we are, that is what is important. And when it comes to the financial statements, the reporting practices, there is so much of regulatory oversight that it becomes important and pertinent for us as professionals, as auditors, to ensure that with our opinion, all the necessary technical compliances are dealt with. Friends, the FRRB is a regulatory function of the institute where what we do is we pick up financial statements at the board level, we review them whether they are in compliance with the various technical requirements or not. And then on the basis of the findings, we have a three-tier review structure. I would like to understand over here from in the audience, how many are not auditors? What I mean to say are preparers from the company or from the okay. So I'm happy we have a significant number of that also because that is where for them also this is relevant. And I would also like to share that next week, though yes, Jinalwen did mention about an event on 23rd, but we also have done because we are able to reach all the members through such awareness. So we have done organized a webinar on that जो आज बता रहे हैं वही वेबिनार में होगा नो वी हैव सो मच ऑफ डेटा बैंक सो मच ऑफ रिपोजिटरी टू डिस्कस विद एवरीबॉडी and therefore we thought that we would be doing a webinar which is on 23rd on the next week. So maybe also, so like I said, for the preparers also it is equally important that these awareness programs they are attending, and I'm very happy that to find so many of you all over here. So without taking much time, friends, I'll run through the about the financial board and how you can also support the initiatives of the institute of the FRRB. Not as an auditor, yes, by complying with all these standards, but also in another supportive role as at the FRRB. So what do we do? So we support regulators. So like I said, it's a regulatory function of the Financial Reporting Review Board of the ICAI. So we support the MCA, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, SEBI, IRDA, BI, CAG, ECI, NABARD, NITI Aayog, CBDT, all these government, the regulators, we support them in their initiatives to ensure that even ECI you see. So we also do the verification of the financial statements of political parties. So I'm just saying, किसी को ऐसा लगे कि भाई ECI कहाँ से आ गया financial statements से, तो political parties का भी we do that exercise. So we undertake review of cases referred by the regulators, and we also refer the cases for the non-compliances. So once we have a finding in respect of a company that there are non-compliances which are there, then one, yes, on the auditor, there would be, the matter would be referred to the disciplinary committee of the ICI. And as far as the company is concerned, because under the Companies Act, the first responsibility is of the company for the preparation of the financial statements and to comply with the accounting standards. So wherever there is a non-compliance, we even refer to the MCA, if it's a listed company, also to SEBI, if it's an insurance company, to IRDAI, to take action against the company and their directors. And this is what is the structure, what we do. So what we do in the review, we review with respect to the generally accepted accounting principles, whether the financial statements with them or not, with the disclosure requirements that are prescribed by the standard, the acts, the rules, and also with the reporting obligations. Let me highlight here that we do not interact with the, it's like a desk. Whatever is there in the financial statements, we review that on the basis of that, we check whether all these compliances are being met or not. Right. So it's not like a, in case those who have, or with respect to the quality review board, where the reviewer comes to your office, picks up a files and does a detailed verification. We don't come to your office. We don't interact with the auditors. What we do is a desktop review. On the awareness side also, friends, what we do a lot of awareness. So we have come out with a lot of publications, 6 so far, 3 on the accounting standards, 3 on the Ind AS. The most recent one we released was in February of this year, February 25. We also have an X handle, a Twitter handle. So those who are on Twitter, I believe most of us would be, let me be very honest, and you are not following, I would request you to follow the FRRB handle. So, you need not wait for a year for our publication or such awareness programs to be there. On a regular basis, we send out tweets about whatever are the observations one by one on a weekly basis. So maybe that also can help you, keeping you updated on a regular basis. So you can join the X handle of FRRB. Webinars, like I mentioned, these awareness programs and all, and also articles in the ICAI journal or through mass mail. So this is how we create awareness, because it's important. See, what we believe as a board and also myself as a chairman, that yes, mistakes hoti hai, right? But it's important that they don't get repeated. This is what is the primary objective of creating all these awareness and bringing it to the notice, that these are the observations. So many times it might not be your observation or from some financial statements where you have audited, but yes, you might be able to relate with some client of yours where similar reporting is being done, and that improvement would always help, ultimately increasing the brand image of ICAI. So who are the members of the board? See, like I said, it's a regulatory function, and therefore it's very important that how it's members of the board. Myself. So we are members of the Financial Report Review Board. We have Government of India nominees, and we also have nominees from various regulators who are there on the board. So I have a list, like there is there SEBI, CAG, NITI Aayog, CBEC, NABARD. So these regulators, they send a nominee on the board, and they also help in the decision making and the review of the financial statements. And to ensure independence, we do not have the ICAI president and vice president as a financial report review board member. We do not have any members of the disciplinary committees who are there as the board members, and we do not have any co-opted or special invitees in the FRRB, because many of you or some of you would have been at some point in time associated with the institute in various capacities as a special invitee or as a co-opted members in different committees at WRC, at the institute. But let me tell you, in the FRRB, no, it's a big no that they are. And I'll tell you the reason, because like I mentioned earlier, that in the board, when we find that there are material irregularities, that case is referred to the disciplinary. And by default, the president, vice president are the chair of various DC benches, and also there are members who are there in the DC. So to ensure that, जो हम लोग ऑडिट में नॉर्मली बोलते हैं मेकर चेकर या कॉन्फ्लिक्ट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट, दैट इट डज नॉट अराइज, दैट द मेंबर्स ऑफ द डीसी आर आल्सो मेंबर्स ऑफ द बोर्ड, and that is how, so that there is a very clear cut demarcation that the honorable president, vice president, and council members who are DC members would not be in the FRRB. And similar structure we have is for the TAQRB also. So which enterprises we review? We review listed companies listed on the stock exchange, equity or debt. We review the banks, including the cooperative banks, companies whose net worth exceeds 250 crores in the immediately preceding financial year, holding and subsidiary of these companies, and also other enterprises which are referred to by the regulators where they find, समझिए सेबी है, कोई लिस्टेड कंपनी है, उनके वो लोग भी इंटरनली रिव्यू करते हैं फाइनेंशियल्स, ऑडिट रिपोर्ट, एंड वेयर दे कम अक्रॉस any such irregularity, they refer that case to the FRRB that you please take this up under your review, under your consideration. So we get a lot of these references from the ministry, from SEBI and other regulators. And in addition to that, if we find in the media reports there are any such cases where which involves accounting irregularities, those cases are also picked up. Like I would say in the past, like the PNB, like the Satyam, like Byju's, all these have been taken up by the FRRB for review, and wherever there have been material non-compliances, they have been referred to the director discipline. So this is what is the ambit of the coverage that we have. So how do we pick up the companies? Sampling, हम लोग ऑडिट में सैम्पलिंग करते हैं, हमारा भी सब मेथोडोलॉजी होता है. So even over here, with such large number of companies being there, how do we pick them up, right? So we first suo moto जो हम लोग लेते हैं, not which are referred by the regulator, but suo moto, we have the index which we refer to, the Nifty 100 and the Nifty 500 index companies we pick up on the basis of turnover and net worth. So we have the Provis database from where we run the all the conditional formulas, and from there we pick up a sample of the other companies with respect to the net worth. And there is also a category कि कोई कंपनी पहले सिलेक्ट हुई है जहां ऑडिटर को लेटर ऑफ एडवाइजरी भेजा है, तो उसको भी 1 साल 2 साल बाद फिर से पिकअप करते हैं ऑफ अ सब्सिक्वेंट फाइनेंशियल ईयर ऑफ दैट वेरी कंपनी, वेदर दोज ऑब्जर्वेशंस हैव बीन नाउ कंप्लाइड विथ और नॉट in the subsequent years audit by the auditors or by the financial statements preparers. So there is also a small number which we pick up for re-review, you can say, sort of a thing, to ensure that compliances have been done or not. From this year, we have introduced some new parameters in the selection. One is highly levered companies. Companies where the debt equity is very high. In such cases, we are selecting them for our review. Negative reserves, where the reserves are negative, because there are a lot of things when we talk of negative reserves with respect to the auditors observations, the auditors reporting under the going concern, all these would get triggered. So we would want to specially review such cases. So where negative reserves are there, we do pick them up for our review. Low audit fees, this is an additional criteria which we have started from this year, जहाँ पे ऑडिट फीस इन प्रोपोर्शन टू दी टर्नओवर काफी कम है, those enterprises we have started now picking up for review. And also companies which have gone under IRP insolvency, अगर earlier year में auditors ने clean opinion दिया है and immediately next year वो IRP में जाते हैं, so these companies also we are now selecting for our review. So these are some additional criteria, because all of us would agree audit quality, the word quality is something which is the buzzword nowadays, and therefore it is important for us that we have additional criteria to select and to ensure that the quality standards are properly met with. Special cases, like we said, complaints which are falling within the ambit of our TOR, also what are financials which are, or companies which are referred by the regulators and through the media reports. So each saal we have selected 75 companies, and this is just a breakup, just an indication for all of you transparently that how and what we have done. So random selection 20, we have Nifty 500, 25 companies we have taken up. Previous advisories जो मैंने बोले थे, re-review sort of a thing of a subsequent financial year, we picked up 5. 2 insurance companies we've picked up this year. Highly levered, the additional 4 criteria. So highly levered, we picked up 5. Negative general reserve, we picked up 5. Low audit fees, अगर उसमें भी हमने 3 buckets बना दिए हैं with respect to the turnover, 50 to 100 crore, 100 to 200, 200 to 300, and in each of these we've picked up 3 financials for review. And companies under IRP, which are not having the modified opinion in the preceding year, we've picked up 4. So this is the breakup of 75 which we have picked up. And let me tell you, friends, as a regulatory function, our target, our objective is to strengthen and move forward, that in a year we should be able to cover 500 companies going forward. ऐसा नहीं है कि कल हो जाएगा या next year हो जाएगा, but that is a roadmap that we are having, that we have to scale up. We have the highest that we have done so far is 105 companies in a year, but we want to scale up and pick up 500 companies for review. So I'm very happy that there's so many participation, because at some point in time, maybe in the future, किसी ना किसी की कंपनीज तो पिकअप हो ही जाएगी. So it's better that we start putting our house in order if required, I would say. So अभी तक हमने total 1269 cases we have considered in the Financial Report Review Board ever since its inception. Special cases 263, so you can see almost 21% which are referred by the regulators or through media reports and all. 21% 263 cases have been considered, and suo moto about 1,000 cases is what has been considered. And in the last council term, total 70% of the market cap is what we have been able to cover through the different selections that we have done so far. Maybe आज ये market cap percentage के time पे आज की rate पे कम हो जाएगा काफी, but the way market has moved in the last week or so. So how we do the review, something very important, and this is where I believe each one of you who is interested and eligible can participate. So friends, we have a 3-tier review or a 3-level review. So जैसे हम companies select करते हैं, then the first level of review is with a technical reviewer. So an individual chartered accountant having the necessary experience, which I'll share in the next slide, क्या requirements है. तो उनको फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स भेजते हैं, एंड दे डू द फुल रिव्यू ऑफ द फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स विद रिस्पेक्ट टू द वेरियस कंप्लायंसेस व्हिच वी डिस्कस्ड इन द अर्लियर स्लाइड, क्या देखना है नहीं है. We also have a software where initially through the XBRL जो कंपनी ने फाइल किए हैं उसके बेसिस पे we also run some checks and balances, something like I'll say very basic कि भाई previous year numbers जो है वो current year number से match नहीं होते हैं, then that system would throw up as an observation, and would we share with the technical reviewer कि आप ये point भी देख लीजिएगा whether they match or not, because as per the requirements, if there is a mismatch of the previous year with the current year in grouping or any such thing, as per the requirement of Ind AS, you need to show that in the notes कि इसको regroup किया है. Especially in Ind AS, you know that one liner does not work, right? Tejas bhai, that the previous year figures have been regrouped wherever necessary. हम लोग पहले AS में बहुत बार सब में लिखते थे, मतलब फाइनेंशियल रेडी हो नहीं हो, ये 4-5 नोट्स रेडी हो जाते थे पहले से ही, डिस्क्लोजर, राइट. बट अंडर Ind AS, फ्रेंड्स, वी नो दैट इज नॉट द केस, एंड देयरफॉर जहां पे भी ऐसे नोट आते हैं या रीग्रुपिंग हुए हैं विदाउट एडिक्वेट डिस्क्लोजर्स, ऑल दीज बिकम्स ऑब्जर्वेशंस फ्रॉम द FRRB. So the technical reviewer is our first level of check, where the reviewer would check with the compliances with respect to standard disclosure and everything, and then on the portal would put in all the observations that are there. Then we have the level 2 review, जहाँ पे financial report review groups होते हैं. So we have a city-wise group of 5 members. तो ये जो financial statements along with the report of the technical reviewer, उनके जो observations है वो group को हम forward करते हैं. So this is like I said, a group of 5 people. उनको 4-5 financials एक साथ देते हैं. They meet together. What they have to do is पहले वो जो TR के जो observations है उनको check करते हैं, and then they comment on that whether they as a group whether they agree or disagree with those comments of the TR. And then they are also expected to review the financials, and in case the TR has missed on any aspect, then would also additional observations करके वो group भी दे सकता है इसमें. So that is the level 2, and the level 3 is finally it comes to the board, where our office, we have the technical people at the FRRB. They go through the observations of the TR, the comments of the group, any additional observations of the group that are there, and uske basis pe wo compile karte hain. And then they also, what they do is they categorize all the observations into high, medium or low. Low is which are to be dropped. Medium are those observations जो categorize होते हैं कि जो technically observation है, but not so material or significant to so as to impact the true and fair view of the financial statements. तो जो medium observations होते हैं उनको we send as a letter of advisory to the auditor, and high are those observations which would impact the true and fair view of the financial statements जो material है, and then they are referred to the disciplinary directorate as well as to the regulator. So this is the categorization that happens at the board level. If I say today we have about 30, Mumbai mein we have about 30 technical reviewers, and we have 2 financial reporting review groups presently. So if any one of you is interested, like I said, ye awareness as it's a two-way thing, that as an auditor, yes, but even as a member where you can help us. If you are eligible and are interested in becoming a technical reviewer, then you should have minimum 7 years experience of audit, and you are currently active in accounting and auditing practice and having exposure in preparation and financial or audit of Ind AS based financial statements and qualified ICAI certificate course on Ind AS. ये conditions आप meet कर सकते हैं. Then we've shown there on the FRRB portal itself, you can log in, fill up all the credentials and submit the form for a technical reviewer. And a technical reviewer is paid an honorarium of 20,000 rupees per annual report that the TR reviews. For group members, where we have, like I said, a maximum of 5 members. So one फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्ट रिव्यू बोर्ड के जो मेंबर है, काउंसिल मेंबर, वो तो एज अ ग्रुप लीडर या ग्रुप कन्वेनर वो रहते हैं. दैट इज वन. इन एडिशन टू दैट वी वुड हैव वन मेंबर सीए जिसको मिनिमम 15 साल का एक्सपीरियंस है ऑन दी इन द प्रैक्टिस और एक्टिव प्रैक्टिस में है. सेकेंड 7 years एक्सपीरियंस इन डेज का. Third, so we try to have a mix of all the youngsters, seniors, maturity, experience, everything. We blended into a group. So a member who has minimum 3 years post qualification experience but provided certificate course on Ind AS उसने pass किया है, and then one academician and one representative from trade industry. So these are the 5 composition of a group member. In case E or F के satisfy नहीं होते, then we can add with A, B, C to make a composition of 5. So over here, any of you are interested in becoming a TR or a group member, for the group also there is an honorarium which is 7,500 per financial statement to each of the member. From this year onwards, what we have done is we have also started evaluating the performance of the TRs and the groups. So we have an objective criteria marking system in-house कि जो ऑब्जर्वेशंस आते हैं क्वालिटेटिवली कैसे हैं, कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव है कि नहीं, उसके बेसिस पे वी स्टार्टेड अ मार्किंग सिस्टम एंड वी वुड आल्सो इवैल्यूएट द टीआरस. मतलब द टीआर स्कोरिंग मोर वुड बी गिवन मोर फाइनेंशियल्स और मे बी कॉम्प्लेक्स मैटर्स, तो उसमें उनका भी लर्निंग अच्छा होगा एंड द बोर्ड वुड आल्सो गेन फ्रॉम देयर एक्सपीरियंस. सो दिस इज विद रिस्पेक्ट टू हाउ वी फंक्शन एंड द टीआरस एंड द ग्रुप्स. सो लाइक आई सेड, रिव्यू करने के बाद क्या 3 level review हो गया, then what? So material non-compliance affecting true and fair view of the financial statements, when we find them out, जो H category मैंने आपको बताया था as an observation, we take action against the auditor and action against the enterprise, where we inform the regulator, SEBI, MCA जो भी है उसके connected, and if it does not impact the true and fair view, we issue a letter of advisory, as well as we inform the peer review board कि भाई ये फॉर्म का आप यू एंश्योर दैट द पीयर रिव्यू हो जाए. सो देन दे वुड आल्सो, पीयर रिव्यू बोर्ड वुड सिलेक्ट सच फॉर्म फॉर द रिव्यू. Additionally, what has been done last year from the CAQD, where the AQMM, Audit Quality Maturity Model version 2.0 has been introduced. In fact, last year I was the convener of CAQD. I am the deputy convener this year, where in one criteria, wherever there is a letter of advisory, how many of you know what is AQMM? So only 5-6 of you know. I know 10-15 तो इंडस्ट्री से है तो उनको एप्लीकेबल भी नहीं होगा, but this is benchmarking your firm with a scoring of 600 marks के ऑडिट के प्रैक्टिस में how your firm gets rated, right? So there are 4 levels, level 1, 2, 3, 4. उसके लिए सेशन अलग से रखेंगे, I'll not take today, but yes, in the AQMM we have introduced a criteria कि अगर FRRB के observations letter of advisory वो firm को मिलती है, then per advisory -5 negative marking है आपके total score में से, and if when it is referred to the disciplinary directorate और वहां पे guilty find होता है at a PFO stage, then there is a -10 that is there. So what we have done so far, we mentioned 1269 cases we've picked up, out of which 201 cases have been referred to the disciplinary directorate. 201 out of 1269. So just think where and how much we as a profession, I'm not talking of any individual, as a profession we need to improve. Cases referred to the regulators, out of 201, 179 we have referred to the regulators. ECI related जो थे political parties के, so 35 have been reported to the ECI, and letter of advisory out of 1269, 788 cases में letter of advisory from the FRRB we have sent, right? So collectively, like I said, we have to ensure that this 201 becomes zero, that there should be no references, no major non-compliances that should be observed, and even the LOA should be reduced to maybe just 10 or 20% of the samples that are picked up. This is what our vision as a profession should be. This is just a graphical representation of the reports. And so in-house, we have our web portal site पे भी मैंने दिखाया था, where we do a lot of activities. A lot of our admin processes are also digitized to ensure that we are able to scale up to 500 reviews in a year. So where we have rule-based analytics or workflow automation is there. We have a repository of all our findings. So if there are repeated findings over there, we can pick them up from the repository. Monitoring work progress, and even advanced search is there. So all these are our functions which we have already digitized. So like I mentioned, in Feb 25, we've come out with this publication on the volume 3 study on compliance of the FR reporting practices under Ind AS. This is the third volume which we have published. This is in fact the largest volume so far of our publication. More than 200 non-compliances have been reported in this, covering 88 financial statements. And like I said, this is the largest volume. We have a lot of graphical presentation, in days wise analysis for you to understand. When you pick up the book, when you pick up the publication, you can just go through it to it. And this is just a graphic. You can see there is not a single standard, single in days where we have not found observations. Right, so you can see the whole list is there, and in all cases there have been some or the other observations which are there. The other publications जो पहले release हुए थे, so in days के 2 volumes were there before 2022 2021 that were released, and जो पुराने हैं on the AS. So all these observations would be covered today by Tejas bhai in his presentation. So we have 3 volumes on the accounting standard also. तो ये अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड्स के हैं ग्राफ ऑफ द थर्ड पब्लिकेशन वॉल्यूम 3 AS. अगर यहाँ पे भी आप देखेंगे तो सारे AS पे कोई ना कोई ऑब्जर्वेशन है फ्रॉम द FRRB, इंक्लूडिंग कारो, कंपनीज एक्ट एंड अदर्स. Right, so I believe this can be a good study, friends, for all of us. That and the reason why we decided to do it, and thanks to WRC that they agreed in the month of April कि अभी audit season start हो रहा है. So we along with our team members, our office colleagues, we can just go through these publications, these observations, the presentations, and ensure that itne jo hai, at least we don't commit errors or mistakes which have already reported through the publications and all. The X handle, we have 536 tweets posted, out of which 222 are on Ind AS, 203 are on IGAP, and 111 on the Schedule 3 and CARO. So I would suggest that you can just follow our Twitter handle for getting the regular updates on that. These are the articles in the journals that are there. We organize webinars, we do training programs for the TRs and the FRRGs. Right. So if you decide, or if you are already a TR, or you decide to become a TR, then most likely I'll tell you in the month of June, we are planning to have a 2-day residential program where we would be training them what are their expectations and how they should be proceeding with the reviews. So till date, we have done 130 programs having more than 15,000 participants. So that's about the FRRB. ये QR code है, ये QR code आप scan करेंगे तो it will take you to the page where all the 6 publications of the FRRB are there. You can download those publications and keep them for your references. And not just reference, मतलब एक बार आप पढ़ लेंगे standard wise and everything. See, I'll be very candid. AS to inventories कितना है बड़ा standard? है बड़ा है? Complicated है? Who says AS2 is complicated? फिर भी observations मिलते हैं. Right? So that is what I am trying to say, that something which seems very simple, but technically whether we are reporting correctly or not is what we have to learn in this whole process. So friends, thank you all for coming here and participating in this program, and I am confident that you will at the end of the day be more aware about where are the areas we need to improve. And my special thanks to the WRC for hosting and giving me this opportunity to share about the FRRB and my thoughts with all of you. One thing before I sign off is that we are seriously working on a tool, and I'll take a couple of minutes on this. Thought process ऐसा है, ड्रीम मैं बोलूँ ऐसा है, that you are aware that institute के इतने सारे publications है, FRRB के आपने देखे, TAQRB के है, you have for the quality review board, you have all the standards, you have implementation guides, you have guidance notes, you have technical guides. There's a lot of technical material that we have educational material on various standards. All these things are there. The whole thought process, and I'll tell you where this emanated from. Like I said, last year also I was chairman of the financial report review board. और जब बोर्ड में बैठते हैं, चेयर करते हैं, और जब ऑब्जर्वेशंस आते हैं, कुछ ऑब्जर्वेशंस में आई वुड से एज अ प्रोफेशनल एक रिफ्लेक्स ऐसा है, एक रिफ्लेक्स व्हेन यू आर रीडिंग दैट, अरे यार दिस वाज अवॉइडेबल, मतलब जो रिपोर्टिंग हुआ है कि मतलब ये दिस इज अ मे बी carelessness or something of a very very trivial nature, which as an observation has come from the TR to the group to the board, but sitting on that seat we have no option. But then if a letter of advisory has to be issued, it has to be issued in that case. And from that the thought came that especially with the work pressures, the timeline pressures that we all work in as the auditors, even the preparers, I would say September ka deadline hai, ye hai, wo hai, and with so many clients coming at the same time, staffing is an issue. Let's be very candid about it. Mumbai ho ya Baroda ho, where I come from, we all know the issues with respect to resources that we have, and with so much use of technology, the thought that emanated was that whether now we can have AI for our financial reporting purposes. And the thought is that we develop maybe I don't know what exact word to use on the technology front, but let us say a tool, where all these things are put in, or a GPT sort of a thing, where all the publications of the institute and the best reporting practices are put in. And as an auditor, before I sign off, if I get the financial statements scanned by that software or that tool, and it would pop up 50 observations, let us say, from the standard practices which are there in that tool, which have been jo upload kiya. So I always maintain that these 50 pop-ups would be orange flags, not red flags. Typically ऐसा नहीं है कि ये 50 गलतियां है, ये observations है, वो tool ने software में जो दिए हैं. It would be then left to the judgment of the auditor कि किसमें क्या modify करना है before sign off. But at least एक review जो है through technology वो हो जाए before sign off. And if we are able to successfully do it, we can extend it even to the preparers of the financial statements कि वो जब prepare करते हैं उनके side से close हो जाए, they can run it through this software, this tool, to ensure that they are also complete in all aspects, and then they submit to the auditors. So दोनों का time save होगा, auditors का और auditee का भी. We've already started with the AI committee wanting to develop this software, this tool, and I hope that by the end of this year, at least we are able to come out with some, I would say, developments on this, which would help the fraternity as a whole. Definitely, we are constrained of resources, like I said. Or क्या होता है, SMP, small medium practitioners, maybe there is a lot of turnover of employees. And we are not so resourceful. Let's be very candid कि हर बार कोई नया बंदा join करे तो उसके पीछे हम 3-4 दिन लगाए training में, right? As it is, we are playing, it's a race against time. And so maybe use of such technology can help us in a lot of ways. So this is one dream project which myself and the FRRB with the AI team in ICAI, we are wanting to work on. And hopefully we want to be, not hopefully, we want to be successful. It's just a matter of time, and then bring it on the table or on the laptops of each of you. So with this, once again, thank you very much for the opportunity.